Hi everybody, welcome back to the Cookworm. Let's get started. Today I'm using some pork shoulder that has been cut into bite-sized pieces. You can use some chicken thigh as well. To that, add in some salt and white pepper. You can also use black pepper, some sugar, and some Chinese cooking wine along with some soy sauce. Give everything a good mix so that the pork is well combined with the seasoning. Next, add in some cornstarch and an egg yolk. Mix everything all together and that's the pork marinade done. You're gonna let this mingle and marinate for at least 30 minutes, but if you're tight on time, 15 minutes is okay. In the meantime, let's talk about the sauce. For the sweet and sour sauce, in a small pot, you're gonna add in some white vinegar, some sugar. Here I'm using some brown sugar slabs, but you can also use plain white sugar. Next, we're going to add in some tomato ketchup, some tomato paste, and if you don't have tomato paste on hand, you can use more tomato ketchup. We're also going to add in some Worcestershire sauce. The next two ingredients are optional but really recommended. The first being some dried sour plums, which will give the sauce a complex sour tang. And finally, some whole flake wafers for a unique fruity taste. You should be able to find those ingredients at your local Chinese grocery store. Over a low heat, slowly bring the sauce to a light boil, stirring constantly to dissolve the sugar. Once it comes to a light boil, and if you've added in those sour plums, you can take them out now. Let the sauce boil for another minute or two. Remove from the heat into a bowl and let cool. At this point, you can taste it just for seasoning, but be aware that the vinegar hasn't completely cooked out, so it can taste quite sharp. It will mellow out once you bring everything together at the end. Any leftover sauce you can cover and place in the fridge up to a week. Next, we have some finishing ingredients, so get yourself 2 cloves of garlic, cut the ends off and give it a good smash. Some Chinese cooking wine, some capsicums. Here I've used both green and red, and you will just cut them into small pieces. Finally, we've got some onions here, which you do the same like the capsicums, just cut them into small pieces. In a deep pot or pan, fill it with oil about 2.5 centimeters deep and bring the temperature to 175 Celsius. Going back to the pork, once you're ready to fry, give it one last mix in case some of the egg yolk has settled down to the bottom. Grab yourself a small bowl and add some cornstarch ready to coat the pork. Take a piece of pork and coat evenly in the starch, then using your hands, give it a good press, doing it a few times. This will ensure you will have a good coating for each pork piece. Continue until all your pieces are nicely coated, then we are ready for frying. Once the oil has reached the heat, carefully add the pork one at a time and fry in batches if you need to. About 30 seconds in, begin to move the pieces around so nothing is stuck together. Fry for about 4 minutes or until lightly golden. Strain out and place onto a cooling rack ready for a second fry. Meanwhile, clean out the oil by removing the bits that were left behind, and then you're going to heat the oil to 200 Celsius. Re-add the pork back in, and this time we're going to fry for about a minute or two, or until golden and crispy on the outside. Take the pork out and set aside on a cooling rack, and now we're ready for the finishing touches. Before you do the final steps, make yourself a slurry by combining cornstarch and water. You may need it towards the end to thicken the sauce. Now in a hot wok over high heat, add some oil followed by the onions and the garlic. Stir fry for about 30 seconds or until fragrant. Next, you're going to add in the capsicums and stir fry until everything is slightly charred and the capsicums have softened to your desire. Add in the Chinese cooking wine and give it a quick toss. Next, add in the sauce and stir continuously. If the wok is too hot at this point, lower the heat to medium. Continue to mix the sauce until it slightly thickens, and here is where you will add some of that slurry you made earlier if the sauce is too thin. I've added about a teaspoon or two. And finally, add in the pork and give it a good toss, making sure every crispy pork nugget is coated in the sauce. Dish out, and there you have it! A fragrant sweet and sour sauce that is paired with the pork that was double fried for extra crispiness. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next time!